absolutely, training can have a big impact on employees' attitudes. As a matter of fact, if you really look at what makes employees engaged or make them want to come and work for your company, developmental opportunities, career growth, career development is in the top 2 or 3 criteria in almost every employee's motivation. Higher than money in most cases. So training is really not more than just a tool to increase skills. It's also a tool to improve retention, give people the opportunities to move to new positions as their career grows, and give them the opportunities to transform their ability to contribute. One interesting piece of data, Credit Suisse, which analyzes a lot of information about their employees, has been working on a study of their own workforce to see what drives high performance. And they looked at the high-performing business units, measured by revenue and profitability. And this is a very rigorous, demanding company. And they found that business performance was correlated to employee engagement, which is common in companies, and employee engagement was directly correlated to 2 things. Number 1 was the employee's personal relationship with their manager, but very close behind that was the employee's perception that they have career opportunities in Credit Suisse. So if you're not doing training, if you're not giving people opportunities to improve their career, you're having a negative impact on their engagement and probably having a negative impact on your own financial performance. Well, technology is a very critical, vital part of corporate training, and it really has been for forever. In the early days of training, people used to put training on mainframes, and then they used video cameras and video TV broadcasts, and then in the late 1990s, the internet created the market for e-learning, and really the e-learning industry is about 12 to 15 years old now. And the reason technology is such a critical part of training is that one of the biggest challenges in training is delivering training to many people efficiently in a compelling manner, and leveraging the expertise of either an instructor or a trainer or a subject matter expert. And what technology does is it allows us to take great content and either deliver it live or through some form of self-study to many, many people at a low cost. And that's essentially what the problem with training is. It's a problem of taking expertise that's in the minds of a few people and extending it to many, many people at a low cost. And in the business world, where money is really the issue, technology is a way to reduce the cost of delivery at the expense of a little bit of extra cost in development. So what technology is really all about is getting more content to more people more efficiently in a very compelling way. And the whole market today of e-learning is really evolving towards not only developing content, but delivering collaborative experiences, connecting people to experts, creating access to real-time information using things like Twitter and activity streams, and extending the more common approaches, traditional approaches of maybe HTML-based e-learning to tools like simulations, gaming, video, things that are even more compelling than ever. And all of those tools are ways of putting more training out at lower cost, reaching people that don't have time to go to class, reaching people in remote parts of the world that may in fact never be able to go to a class. One of the biggest things that happened as e-learning took off was companies found they could train a higher percentage of their workforce than they ever could before. So those are really the reasons technology is important, and it will always be a critical part of the training industry. Mobile devices and mobile technology is just exploding in the learning industry right now. It's been in development and people have talked about it for probably 6 or 7 years, but just this year with the widespread adoption of smartphones and phones like the iPhone and products like the iPad that have graphical user interfaces. Online learning on cell phones and mobile devices is becoming very, very big, to the degree that now you can take content that was built for a regular computer and, using a tool, republish it so that it'll fit on the form factor of a phone without having to redevelop it. It used to be you had to build special content, so it's very inexpensive now to deliver it. And employees, for the most part, are very commonly used to using their phones a lot. In fact, one company, Accenture, found that much of their more informational content, compliance training, account management courses, things that are sort of mandatory courses, they get 4 to 5 times the enrollments in the mobile versions of the course than they do in the computer versions of the course, because their employees are on their cell phones all the time, and they would prefer to take the courses on their cell phones. So I think mobile learning is now really in its prime and really exploding, and it will continue. I think products like the iPad are going to become, they're going to replace laptops. It's only a matter of time, and they look more like cell phones than they do like computers. So developing experiences for mobile devices is now really, really a big part of the training industry. Well, the issue of investing in online training gets back to the issue of investing in training at all. And I won't spend a lot of time on that topic, but companies learn through experience that if they don't train their employees, they're paying for it. Because if you don't produce some form of education and training, people will learn the hard way. They will make mistakes, they will ask their manager for help, or they will be unproductive. So given that we all know that training is of value, putting it online is a really mandatory approach to the needs of delivering training at a low cost, offering it to people when they need it, giving people the opportunity to take training at home or during off hours, or when they're not able to travel. So technology-based training is a critical part of all learning. In fact, our global research shows that close to 35 to 40% of instructor hours are now delivered through some form of virtual or online form. So that's a huge percentage. That's up from maybe, in the last 10 years, that's gone up from, maybe 10% or less. And if you look at if you consider the fact that the corporate training industry is about $130 to $140 billion industry, that's a big industry now of technology tools, content, solution providers, consultants to facilitate online learning. So online learning is really now a part of the fundamental fabric of training. It's really, it can be a very great experience for an employee, or it can be a terrible experience. Unfortunately, some content and some courses are still mostly reading, maybe some audio and page turning. And in those situations, the employee experience is less than positive. They will take the training if they have to. They probably won't learn a tremendous amount. They'll learn enough to pass a test, but they'll get through the material. I think on the converse side, if organizations take the time to build really exciting, compelling content, it becomes a really engaging tool to make employees excited about their jobs. A great example of this, I think, is a fairly large program that Vestas Wind Systems built a couple of years ago for onboarding. When Vestas was really a fast-growing company and they were trying to hire a lot of engineers and manufacturing professionals that really didn't know a lot about the wind power. This is a wind power company. And a lot of people didn't know a lot about wind power and how it worked and what were some of the technologies and what was the economics of it. They decided to build a very complete e-learning based simulation of the wind power industry. And they went out and they videotaped employees at Vestas, and they created animated characters of those employees. And they built many hours of training that simulates those employees going through the process of designing and implementing wind power solutions for companies, and then made it into an instructional program by asking a lot of questions and having a lot of interactivities. And it was a tremendously important program for the company. The employees loved it. It made people want to go work at Vestas. It helped people get up to speed on their jobs. It helped them understand the culture of the company. They learned what Vestas was all about. They got to know the company's values. They got to see animated characters of some of the company's executives, and it all could be done online, so they didn't have to fly people all, around all over the world and spend all that money. So it can be a very positive experience for employees if it's done well.